You hear the word education all the time, right? But have you ever really stopped to think about what it actually means? You might be surprised to learn that it's not so simple. In fact, its real meaning is at the heart of a huge debate that's been going on for centuries. So let's dive in and figure out what's really going on with this huge, fundamental idea.
So, let's get right to it. What's the real goal of education? I mean, is it just about getting good grades, landing a decent job? Or is there something deeper, something more profound going on? Well, believe it or not, the clues are hiding in plain sight, right inside the history of the word itself.
Okay, so this whole debate really boils down to two completely different ways of looking at it. Think about it like this. Is education like filling up an empty bucket? Just pouring facts and information into a student's mind? Or is it more like planting a seed, nurturing the amazing potential that's already there inside a person, just waiting to grow? It's a huge difference, right? So, which one is?
To get to the bottom of this, we've got to go way back. We're talking ancient Latin. And trust me, what we find there is pretty eye-opening.
See, here's the twist. The word education doesn't just come from one place. Nope. It actually has two totally different Latin roots, and each one tells a completely different story about what education is supposed to be. All right, first up we have educare. This one means to bring up or to nourish. This is that filling the bucket idea we were talking about. It suggests that knowledge is something from the outside that you have to carefully pour into a learner's mind. But then you've got the second root, edicere. Now this is cool. It breaks down into two parts, which means out of, and duco, which means to lead. Put them together, and what do you get? To lead out, or to draw out. Totally different vibe. And that idea changes everything, doesn't it? Suddenly, it's not about filling an empty space. It's all about growing that seed. The thinking here is that every single person has this incredible potential, this innate knowledge just waiting inside. And the job of education? It's to help draw that out into the world. A philosopher named James S. Ross put it perfectly. He said, education is all about making the potential actual. I love that. It's not just about adding new stuff. It's about unlocking what's already there. But of course, it's not that simple. There's always a counterargument, right? A thinker named Adams made a really good, practical point. He basically said, hey, wait a minute. How can you draw anything out of a mind if you don't put something in it first? And that really gets to the heart of why this whole debate is still so alive today. Now, this whole debate wasn't just happening in the Latin-speaking world. Let's hop over to ancient India and see how they were thinking about education. They had their own really unique and, frankly, fascinating perspectives. So in Sanskrit, one of the big words for education is shiksha. Now, it comes from a root that means to teach or to instruct, which makes sense, but it also means to control or to discipline. And that adds a whole new layer, doesn't it? The idea that part of learning is about developing self-control and internal order. And working right alongside shiksha is another key term, vidya. This comes from the root vid, which just means to know. So vidya is all about getting knowledge, but here's the key. It's tied directly to that idea of disciplining the mind. You see? The two ideas are meant to be a team. So, if you put it all together, the ancient Indian view sees education as this one unified process. You discipline your mind, which then makes it possible to really acquire knowledge. And this whole thing leads to growth, not just intellectually, but spiritually too. It's really about training your inner self. Okay, so let's recap. We've got the Latin ideas of drawing out versus nourishing, and we've got the Sanskrit concepts of disciplining in order to know. So are these all just clashing with each other, or are they all pointing toward the same thing? Let's try to connect the dots. When you step back and look at all these different philosophies together, something really cool happens. A much bigger, unified picture starts to take shape. It doesn't matter if you're talking about drawing out potential or nourishing the mind or disciplining it. The ultimate goals are, wow, they're basically the same. It's all about developing our inner potential, becoming a more harmonious person, and reaching our absolute fullest growth. So maybe, just maybe, that whole debate we started with, filling a vessel versus growing a seed, maybe it's not an either-or question. Maybe they're just different roads that lead to the exact same place. Because the ultimate point of education, it seems, isn't just about getting smarter. It's about becoming a more whole, more complete, more well-rounded human being. And that brings us to one last really important idea.
Because this process, this journey of becoming a more complete person, well, it definitely doesn't stop when you get a diploma.
The truth is, education is a lifelong journey. It's this constant, never-ending process of inner growth. It isn't just a part of life. In a way, it is life. It's something that goes on from the moment we're born to our very last day. And this is the process that truly shapes who we are. It's what takes us from just being, biological creatures and transforms us into social, moral, rational human beings. You could even say it's the engine that drives our own personal evolution. So I want to leave you with a question to think about. A question about your own life. Think about your own education. And I don't just mean school. I mean your whole learning journey. Is it just filling your head with facts? Or is it truly helping you grow into the person you have the potential to become?